Good morning children. Welcome to the Shilpadhara classroom. Today you are going to learn a lesson on GCE A-Level 73 English Literature. It is on answering context questions. This question is of high importance because it carries 8 marks into 4, which gives you 32 marks in all at your exam. So we are going to learn the marking scheme first. You will be given 1 mark on identification of text, author, characters or situation. The second section, relevance to text, themes, characters, plot and significance of the lines will carry 3 marks. The literary features will carry 1 mark if you identify and write the use of them correctly. And the language that you are going to use in your answers, which I am going to discuss at the last point, will carry 3 marks. And total 8 marks will be calculated like that. Today I have selected 2 questions from the past advanced level examination, a poem and a short story. They appear in the new syllabus as well. First question is GCE Advanced Level 2012 English Literature Paper, context question number 3. It goes like this. Comment briefly on the following passage, relating it to the specific work, the context and its significance. The context is, and she said once again, it's my karma. A commonplace, almost meaningless phrase mouthed by so many. And yet, as I look back for one last wave, there seemed to be a truth in it. A truth reflected in that heavy, sullen woman standing in the doorway and in the other, feebly waving a loose-skinned hand. If you remember well, you will see that this comes at the very end of the short story by Fernando's short story, Action and Reaction. So it is a modern Sri Lankan short story. So this description of Lokunanda and Kusuma, the last time that Mahinda visits Payagala, if you remember correctly. And these words are spoken by Lokunanda. That will give you 1 mark for identification. The second section is discussing characters, themes, plot or significance of the lines. It gives you 3 marks. So let us look at the characters, and Mahinda, his maturity as an educated intellectual is explained here very well. In the context or in the quotation, a beautiful quotation, a commonplace, almost meaningless phrase. And you can see the contradiction given in the word yet. He acknowledges some truth in it also. You can see Mahinda has developed as a character, and there has been an attitudinal change in his character. It is not the same Mahinda that you saw at the beginning of the short story that you see now. And another characteristic is regard for Lokunanda and her helpless situation at the very end. It is very well presented in the quotation, I look back for one last wave. Not only in Mahinda, even in all the readers, there is sympathy aroused for Lokunanda. And Lokunanda is also a predominant character here in this given context. You can see the complete reversal in her stature and position, etc. In the quotation, feebly waving a loose-skinned hand. You can see she has deteriorated. Her power as the lady in the house is gone to Kusuma, and you can see she has become thin. The loose-skinned hand, how do you think she got the loose-skinned hand? She's not properly fed by Lokunanda. You know, she loved good food, but now how does Kusuma feed her? With Karavala and Polsamba. And look at the next point. But she continues to cling on to her belief in the karmic law. What does she say? She says, it's my karma, Puta. So she, with no meaning or real understanding like Mahinda, she just says that and she puts it onto karmic law and keeps quiet. So in this resignation, we can see that she seems to understand the reality of her new situation now. There is resignation to her fate and quiet acceptance of it. You must have noted the way how she cries and becomes helpless when her valuable things are sold by Kusuma without her permission. So take Kusuma's character. The most important word here is sullen, which means gloomy and resentful appearance. It reveals the bitterness and ill humor in Kusuma's life. It negates all her pious and meritorious actions. Whatever she does in her life has not given her happiness. She is not contented and she is unhappy. You can see she has become gloomy and resentful. And if you look at the plot, the role reversal between Lokunanda and Kusuma is complete now. Now, what they are reaping is the consequences of their actions. What Lokunanda did at the very beginning to Kusuma is done by Kusuma to Lokunanda now. And Lokunanda has become a very, very helpless, feeble person in her wheelchair. And the theme predominantly is karmic law here, which very beautifully presents by the short story writer Chitra Fernando in Action and Reaction, which means that karma will follow you. And the third part, literary features. It gives you 1 mark if you correctly identify them. So first person narration is there and dialogue form is there, and contrast you can see in the word yet, which gives the complete outlook of Mahinda and Lokunanda, and the beautifully given visual imagery. The final image of the 2 women is arresting and very, very aptly, very, very suitably summarizes their fate. And the reflective and philosophical tone of the narrator, Mahinda, is clearly seen here. He has seen what actually has happened to Lokunanda. He knew about Lokunanda from his childhood and now he knows about her as an educated adult. So he has got this philosophical outlook and he never is able to hate Lokunanda. She is in a very helpless situation and he very kindly, very gently treats her. So let us come to the next question, the poem. That is 2016 A-Level English Literature paper, question number 4. So it is a poem. The question goes, comment briefly on the following extract, explaining its significance to the poem from which it has been taken. Now more than ever seems it rich to die, to seize upon the midnight with no pain, while thou art pouring forth thy soul abroad in such an ecstasy. Still wouldst thou sing, and I have ears in vain, to thy high requiem become a sod. Answer to this context question. You need to identify this as an ode to a nightingale by John Keats, the romantic poet. If you remember carefully, then it comes at the end of the 6th stanza. These things are necessary to get 1 mark. And second section, relevance to text, themes, plot and significance of the lines, which carry 3 marks. You need to understand this is an ode written to admire the musical, melodious voice of the nightingale. The need to escape from the poet's pain is evident in these given lines. So this extract from Keats' poem brings together the key theme of immortality in death. If I explain, the nightingale song lives on, immortal, in other birds of its kind, not in the same nightingale. Though the bird itself dies, but this situation does not prevail for humans, alas. That is, human beings are very helpless. But the nature, the nightingale, they are immortal. Hence, other nightingales will sing over the sod that means the grave that humans inevitably become over time. From generations onwards, this has happened. So for Keats, who is listening to the beautiful melodious voice of the nightingale, and who was dying of tuberculosis, it is a very painful disease, the notion of dying at a moment of great joy and beauty was of great value. This context, you can see, discusses a lot of themes, and the most important themes of the poem are including the obsession with illness and death, and the ability of nature to provide moral and spiritual upliftment, and the premise that the intellect is at the tip of the senses are all contained in this extract if you carefully read. In addition, the theme that humans are susceptible, helpless to annihilation, whereas the natural world is immortal because each member of a species is identical to the other. That means one nightingale dies, but another nightingale will take its place and the nightingale song will live on. That is beautifully presented in the given context. If you go to literary features, which will give you 1 mark, the first person perspective is there. It brings in an individual experience which is not common to all or universal. There is a personal experience given in the ode. And personification, the recognition and respect given to the bird by the poet is shown there. It shows his love for nature. The presence of archaic words or old-fashioned English words are there. For example, thou, thy, art, wouldst are used. They are all used to beautify the ode. Raise all these ideas within 15 minutes to write a beautiful answer using your language skills. So let us come to the language section, where your language competence criteria and the equivalent grade that you are going to get for the language that you are using in your answer. And an outstanding writing will take or give you 3 marks. This is given for A+ holders, A+ students. A free of error and coherent and persuasive writing style will give you 2.5 marks. They are the A holders. And if you write your language with no major errors but contains a few minor inaccuracies, will give you 2 points. And they are the B holders, B pass holders. A smattering of errors and problems with idiom or style will carry 1.5 marks for your language out of 3. And if there are many errors but communicates basic ideas clearly, then you may be able to get 1 mark out of 3. And these are the ordinary pass holders. You have to keep this in mind. And errors adversely affect the ability to understand students' idea. You may get about half of 3 marks. And incoherent and unacceptable linguistic expressions will give you no marks. I think this marking criteria is very clear to you. So remember, when you write your answers, to answer the given context. And one major mistake that all the students are doing is writing the story or narrating the story. So do not narrate the story, answer to the given context. And keep in mind that it is a very careful, analytical study and a deep study of the given text. It checks your careful study of the text given to you. So wish you best of luck at the exam. Thank you.